Welcome to this video. We are continuing our Roy Lopez saga, and today we are looking at the Breyer variation. Last time we looked at the Shigorin with knight a5. Today we are looking at the Breyer, which goes with knight b8. And just to recap how this position comes about, we start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the Roy Lopez, a6, bishop a4, knight f6 castles, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3, castles, c3, and then d6, h3, and now knight b8. So this is the position of interest today, and we are looking at how to play this as white. The recommendation here is to start with d4, of course. This is the main move. And the plan with this move is that black wanted to reroute his knight to d7, put the bishop on b7 where it would be open, and then black wants to play rook e8, bishop f8, g6, bishop g7. That's how he wants to place his pieces. So white should of course play knight d2. It's almost an automatic maneuver to put this knight on g3, sometimes on e3 as well. Black plays bishop b7, bishop c2, rook e8, knight f1, bishop f8, knight g3, and now we have two options. Black could play g6, stopping any future knight f5s and preparing bishop g7, or he could play a5. I will explain this a5 move in a second because you need to understand g6 first. If you do play g6, which is the main line, let's say g6, then white will recommend. If you do play g6, which is the main line, then white should play b3. And this has a fantastic idea. The idea is to play d5, closing down this bishop, and if you play c6, I can play c4, and then I get a beautiful pawn chain and the bishop is hammered in. So let's say you were to play bishop g7, I could play d5, c6, c4, and we start to see that this bishop does not do anything and white gets more space. Bishop will come to e3, rook will probably go to c1, and white will have a beautiful position. So often what you would see here is that instead of bishop g7, or maybe bishop g7 is played, and after d5, you might see that black plays a move like knight b6. And what black is trying to do here is trying to play c6, but not allowing white to play c4. This is where we can play an incredible move, which is rook b1. The idea is very prophylactic, and it is that after c6 I can get c4, and since the bishop is unprotected, if you were to take twice with the knight, in the end the bishop falls. So that's a deeply prophylactic idea. So what I mean to say here is, let's say you capture, you can't capture, the bishop hangs, okay? Another thing that could happen is that instead of knight b6, which we played here, black could start with rook c8. The idea is still to play c6. In this case, we are not exactly being prevented from playing c4, so we could play bishop e3, let him play c6, and then we can play c4 ourselves. This is not a problem at all. If you try to play knight b6 now, I could just play queen e2, and after, let's say, bc4, cd5, I could just play cd5. And what really happens here is that you have all these three pieces you need to take care of. Rook b1 is coming, a6 might be weak, b6 might be weak, and you are sort of in trouble. The only critical line which you might want to look at is after queen e2. What if he doesn't capture on c4, rather he captures on d5, cd5, and then he goes for this knight sacrifice with knight takes d5. The idea here is to activate the bishop, try to gain control of the c3 square, attack this bishop, sacrificing a piece for 2 pawns. This is not dangerous, we just need to know a couple of moves. After ed5, knight d5 of course, going for knight c3, e4 stuff, giving all that attack. White should just calmly play rook c1, defending the bishop. Knight takes e3, gaining the dark square bishop. You should take back with the pawn. That's the key thing. Once I have a pawn here, I can sort of neutralize these 2 pawns from, going forwards, as my pawn is already there. And then if you play d5, trying to push your pawns, the key move here is b4. Once your bishop gets activated on this diagonal, white has sufficient counterplay and black's piece compensation is insufficient, to say the least. And black is completely fine. So this is basically the story of g6. So just to recap, the recommendation here from me is b3. If you want to go for a more tactical idea, I encourage you to explore the move bishop d2. The idea here is that we are going for this queen c1 bishop g5 idea, and black cannot play h6 because our queen is here. This is also a very interesting idea, and I encourage you to explore it. If you want me to if you want me to add it to the PGN lines, do let me know and I'll do that. Continuing with our stuff, let's look at the move a5. Now the whole plan of a5 is that if I play b3, black wants to play b4, and essentially trying to weaken c4. If I do play c4 here, this is not as good because after pawn takes d4, knight takes d4, black has knight c5. Notice I cannot push my pawn to b4 because knight is already there, because his b4 pawn is already there. So that's the basic subtlety of playing a5. If I play b3 anyways and he plays b4, the recommendation here to play this excellent move, bishop b2. This time we are not playing c4 but rather bishop b2, and it's not very obvious what black is going to do. He could play, let's say, g6, and in this case queen d2 just does a very nice job attacking b4, controlling this nice diagonal. Rook is ready to come to c1 or d1, and the position is very pleasant for white. c5 has to be met with d5, by the way. You again clamp down this bishop, and if you think your bishop is clamped down as well, notice you're going to play a3 and you're going to create weaknesses here. Something like bishop g7, a3, let's say takes, you have a5 pawn weakness to play upon. And the bishop can reroute to d2 if it wants to. So this is basically some brief introduction, or more than sufficient introduction you need to play this variation as white. If you do like it, do let me know. I am not getting enough views, so if you watch this video till the end, that's amazing. If you subscribe, that's even better. And let me know how you find the video. I'll see you in the next one.